It's not that big of an inconvenience. I always like coming over here. So you just keep asking me, I'll come every year. Get this great high-V lunch. See Hot every year. So Joe, it's always good to see you as well. Joe was the voice of the Coyotes back when I played in the early 90s, and those were some good times. Those are some good teams, and Joe did a great job. And are you still doing Wayne State?
No.
You guys aren't covering them, huh?
Nope.
Just the Lancers.
When the change of ownership came.
I catch your voice on the radio once in a while, and it's always good to hear it. But again, thanks for having me. I'll just fill you in briefly on kind of what we've been doing at the U. I know Bob mentioned that we do practice today at 4:45. It's going to be colder than hell in the dome. And those rims are really frigid, and that's how we've been shooting it here lately. He mentioned the basketball facility. I don't know if that's been kind of some hot talk in the university circle for, I think, for a couple months now. And what's encouraging for a coach is the talk is coming from our athletic director, which that's always good, and also our president. President Abbott, both those guys are on board, and the plan is in place to really get something going. And I know our athletic director, David Saylor, who he's a good fella, you guys. You guys are going to like him. I don't know if he's spoken over here yet. Okay. He's got a good plan, and as coaches, that's what we want. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's one thing to share a plan with your staff, and we really believe this is going to happen. And I know he's been out raising some money here over the Christmas break, and so we're really encouraged that that's going to happen. They were going to put it, I think, to the north of the dome in that open field. I think now the talk is they want to put that in the south of the dome in that parking lot. And obviously the basketball arena and the football arena, the concepts are to connect them, to connect the two. And so kind of like a Northern Iowa facility, if you've ever been to Cedar Falls and seen that, McLeod Center, how it's connected to their Unidome, our concept would be very similar. So that's encouraging, and it does need to happen. It does need to happen, and not that the dome is a bad place. The dome it's got its wow factor. When we bring kids into the dome, recruiting-wise, sometimes there's that damn grass down or that turf, and there's a whole lot of green. But when you throw it, when you walk a kid in, it's massive. It is massive, and it just tells the kid that we're pretty big time, and we don't have a hard time. Probably not as hard a time as you'd think selling that facility. Now, when you walk around the innards of that thing, now that's a little scary. It's aging now, but we do need something. If you've been around campus lately, we just opened our wellness center. I think on Martin Luther King Day on Monday, that thing was really hopping, and it's a beautiful facility, all glassed in, state-of-the-art equipment, 3 gymnasiums, racquetball courts. And as a coach, how does that affect us? Well, we can walk a recruit in there. They've got this huge climbing wall. It is the largest climbing wall in the region. It is taller than South Dakota State's climbing wall. It is true. And we built it just for that purpose, the right height. And it is also higher than North Dakota State's climbing wall. So we're really proud of that. But you walk a recruit in that facility, or the new student union, or the business school, or the med school, and wow, there's a lot of good stuff happening, facility-wise, program-wise, at the university. And athletically, we want to piggyback on that stuff, and the arena needs to be next. So we're going to take a collection on the way out. I know this is a group with a ton of money, so we'll get it started right here. But we have been traveling quite a bit. Our record right now, you guys, we're 9-9, and we're hanging in there. We have a better than 500 basketball team. I will tell you that. But the rigors of travel, playing a lot of road games, playing a lot of pre-conference tough road games, wears on you. And I think our best basketball is yet to be played once we start our conference season, which we do have one game under our belt in the Great West. I think this team's going to pick up some momentum and really play some good basketball. Not that we haven't played good basketball up to this point, but some of our opponents have been a little hairy. We played the likes of Kansas, and that was really cool. That was a really cool place to play in Allen Fieldhouse. the neat thing about this transition and this Division I thing, we have gotten to play in some neat arenas, to play against some storied programs, and that is neat until the ball goes up, and then they stomp on your throat time and time again. But Allen Fieldhouse was very, very special, and we got to play in the likes of the Dean Dome at Carolina, and of course the Hilton Coliseum in Ames, and the Devaney Center in Lincoln. Those are neat experiences, and we still have to play those games. I think I talked to you last year about, they are fun for a little bit, but why do we have to play them? Because we get pretty good money, you guys. And as we go through this transition, I'll tell you where we've been. I'll talk about our travel, and it's not cheap. And you can't just fund it with state monies and booster monies. We do a good job of that, but we've got to go hunt our own money down. And playing these guarantee games really, really helps. And we're told we've got to play so many of those a year, and I don't know when we're going to get out of that mode or when you get enough money to where you got to quit playing them, but that's the reason why we do that. Our last 5 basketball games have been on the road, and it started on, our last home game in the Dome was December 18th. Yeah, a long time. Can you remember back then, Hod? I know you can't. I don't know why I asked. You probably can't remember yesterday, can you? No. But we can remember March 4th. That's awesome. 90, that's impressive. But December 18th, we played Cal State Northridge in the Dome, and that was a nice win for us, and that was the last time we were there. Since then, we bussed to Colorado State, came back, had a little Christmas break, bussed to Green Bay. That's a long bus trip. Don't ever bus it in the middle of winter. Roads were bad. It was icy. It's Packer country, so you wouldn't have liked it. Okay, but and then we came back from Green Bay, and we jumped on a plane a couple of days later, and we had to get on a plane and couldn't play in the Dome because of the farm show. So we left to go on this trip, and I took my cell phone. We left at 4 in the morning. And I walked in the Dome, and I was just really mad. It's really honked off because there's tractors, there's these combines, there's big old augers, all this stuff on my basketball floor. And as we're getting ready to load a bus to drive to Omaha to jump on a plane to go to Ithaca, New York, and that game was scheduled to be at home. The first game we played at Cornell, and that game was scheduled to be in the Dome, but we had to move it because of the farm show. All right. So I don't know how many farmers we got. I just always love joking about it. It is a pretty cool thing, I guess, if you're a farmer. So we went to Ithaca. From Ithaca, we jumped on another plane, and we then flew to St. Louis, and we had a day off in St. Louis, and then we played Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, and then we had a bus pick us up after that game and drove us 9.5 hours back to Vermillion. Then we had a week of practice, and then we got to drive up to the coldest, ugliest place on earth, and that's Grand Forks, North Dakota. It was 25 below zero when we got off the bus, and so now we're back at home. So and we lost. All right, those road games, we lost at Colorado State. We did get a nice win at Cornell. The game at Green Bay, we played a really good second half. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Green Bay Phoenix and their women's basketball program. Last year they lost in overtime to Iowa State to go to the Sweet 16. This is one of the best women's basketball programs in the country. And when we played them, some polls had them as high as 17. The USA Today poll had them 23rd in the country, and they were the #1 mid-major team in America. And they proved to be that. And there's 3,500 people in the stands. Students weren't in session. It was a neat environment for our kids. And as we look at these mid-major programs, that's a program that we look at and we say, we want to be like. They've got it going, from fans to the type of kid they recruit to just how well they play. They play with such a tremendous toughness, and they execute just with great precision. And we learned a lot from that game. And sometimes when you play these tough opponents, these ranked opponents, you've got to find positives with these things. We lost by 17. We won the second half. That was a real positive against their top kids. not that there's any moral victories. We're not into that. Okay, we still lost the game, but I think we proved to ourselves that we can compete. We can compete. You still got to acquire better talent, but we're getting closer. We lost a game at Edwardsville that we thought maybe we didn't play all that well, and then of course the North Dakota game. So it's been a little. I've been grumpy at home. When you lose one of we've lost 4 of our last 5 games, that's not easy. That's not easy. Against some tough opponents, but we're ready to get back to the Dome. And I see on your sheets on your tables, you'll see we play Utah Valley. That's a Great West opponent. We play them on Saturday at 6 o'clock. And then the following weekend we have the Texas schools, which is Houston Baptist and Texas Pan American, coming to the Dome. And then we follow that the following weekend, another home game with the Fighting Sioux coming back down here. So it's perfect timing to have these road games. We've grinded out this pre-conference, which you have to do. You have to grind out the tough travel. You have to grind out the tough opponents and stay above water. And that's what we did. And as a program, that's what you have to do as well. I think early in this transition, not that it's early anymore, I shouldn't say that, but as we're winding down this transition into Division I, we're there, but you really have to establish yourself. And, first of all, establish a winning program. Establishing a way to compete every night, whether you're playing Iowa State, whether you're playing Green Bay, whether you're playing, Manny's Hand Laundry. It just doesn't matter. We've got to start, that's the precedent that we are trying to set. And, again, we're excited about this second half because we've got a lot of home games. And, I mentioned the tough stretch on the road. This group, what we need to get back home and get some confidence. I think there's 3 big things that this group needs and that a lot of teams need. You need to play with confidence, and you need to have a tremendous amount of toughness, and then you have to execute. And I think we're probably 85+% doing all of that. But on the road, you just can't make many mistakes. You just can't. You just can't turn it over 3 times in a row. You do that, they're going to make you pay. And that's what we're finding. An interesting stat is, and I don't know if I've shared this before, but we talk about this a lot with our kids. And it is a true stat that 75% of all games at the college level are won or lost by 5 points or less. It's an interesting stat. And you watch all the close games in March Madness. That's why it's March Madness, because every game is close. You watch the close games last night. And so we put a huge emphasis on, obviously ball security. You can't turn it over. Your positive possessions offensively. If you slip, 3-4 minutes, you have a little bad run, boom, it gets you. It gets you. And that's what this team is learning. And as it gets you, you struggle with some confidence a little bit. So we're going to get back in the Dome. We're going to start playing really good basketball. We're going to start believing again. And then when we go back on the road, we're going to have a tremendous amount of belief. And then we're going to roll. We were picked 3rd in the Great West Conference. The Great West has proven to be, I think, a little better than some people expected. Some really good teams in the Great West are going to be, obviously, North Dakota, the defending champ. Solid team. Chicago State seems to be really a solid team. Texas Pan American, along with us. So we're going to grind this out and put ourselves in a position to win a conference championship. That's our goal. And again, 4 in a row here at home, we're going to get some things going and get going in this Great West. But what is the Great West? I'll just share with you again. Here's where we go. We go to, obviously, Grand Forks, Houston Baptist in downtown Houston, Texas Pan American, that is on the Mexican border. A little scary down there. Sometimes great weather. It's always hot, right? But they've had some issues down there. It's always tough to go there. Utah Valley is in Salt Lake. We go to New Jersey. In Newark, New Jersey, we play New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT. And I've got some friends that always joke, are we going to have a slide ruler night when NJIT comes in place? So I'm checking into that. If you like slide rulers, come to that game because we're probably going to have one. But they're pretty solid as well. And again, their travel partner is Chicago State and, of course, us. So that's our league. We've been all over. in our pre-conference, and we continue to go all over in our conference season. And where we're headed, we got one, Bob said earlier, you just got one more year of this. Flipping men. One more year of this Great West. Because now we get into Summit League. And that Summit League is obviously state, which are going to be great games for you folks, for our players, that rival, North Dakota State. We will continue to play North Dakota gang when we get into the Summit League. Our ADs have agreed to do that. I don't know if it'll be twice a year, but for sure one time a year. You'll see us play them. And those are great games for fans, the rival games. Also, Oral Roberts, it seems to be the top team in that Summit League right now. Very talented, the likes of Western Illinois. So that's where we're headed. And I think you all probably knew that. But the travel is a little friendlier. It's a little more bus travel. And I like those buses. The airports get to be a little tough. You jump on that plane, you fly 2 hours, and then when you fly in large groups, and what we're finding out, they just, if you're flying solo, they can get you on that next flight in maybe 40 minutes or so. With a large group, our ticketing is, we have to wait like 4 hours, it seems like. So our layovers are just huge. And so we just sit, and what do our kids do in the airports? I'll just share with you. This technology stuff is really cool. They all have their own computers, they watch movies, they study a lot in the airports. They study a lot on their laptops, and they got their books out. So you're going to see our kids crammed in corners, couches. Some of them are pretty crowded. We just sit anywhere. We sit on the floors in these busy airports and study or watch movies. Sometimes we even watch game film if I'm really grumpy and we're coming off a loss. Last year, we traveled with a projector, and we can hook it up to our laptop, and we can project it, all right? If we can find an outlet in the airport, we can project it on a wall. And we sit there like a bunch of nerds and we watch game tape. But you got to make good use of your time when you travel. And we do a good job of that. But mentioning that our kids study a lot, we completed our first semester with a team GPA of over 3.4, like a 3.425. And we have a goal every year to be a top 25 academic team in the country. And the last 2 years we have done that. And we're well on our way to do that again. And big picture here is we want to win games, and we're going to win games, and we want to have as good a basketball team as we can put on that floor. But big picture is these young ladies are there to get a great degree. And they do a great job of working towards that. And our kids they're not taking the classes that Ha took or Joe Van Gore took in college. I mean, these kids are, they're not taking officiating class, Cappy. And we got physics majors. We have Amber Hagee's a calc major. I don't get that. Right? She's always doing calculus. We've got pre-med. We've got pre-law. We've got some kids with some challenging academic coursework. And for us to do what we did in the classroom that first semester, and we'll do the same the second semester, really, really proud of what they've done. Our goal this year is to be top 10. We've set that goal as a unit. And some kids are better than others, obviously, in the classroom, but we all work really hard there. Our kids go through study tables. We have study tables on the road occasionally. And again, the airports, we study a lot there too. So when you watch us play out there, you're going to see really good athletes, and you're going to see kids really determined and dedicated to their sport. But realize too that these kids go to class, and they perform really well in the classroom as well. So that's really, I love sharing that because we're really proud of them for that. Okay, but I'm just going to open it up to some questions. I'll answer whatever you guys want. I could sit here and talk all day, but I was going to give you my Martin Luther King speech. I wish it was Martin Luther King Day on Monday, but I shared this with our team because you lose 2 in a row and you think the world's coming down. Coaches are crazy. We're all psycho. We worry about everything, and so I just shared this with my team on Monday. We had a really hard practice on Monday, and I had an inspirational quote come across my computer, and I thought, that just really fits with kind of the little adversity that we're going through. Just a little bit, just a couple losses, that's it. We'll fix that hot, okay? But, coaches think you lost 10 in a row when you lose 2 in a row. Right, Bob? I mean, you don't sleep at night. You just, but you don't eat. But the quote was, Martin Luther King, he always said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, just keep moving forward. And that's what we shared with our kids. And that fits with what we're doing, I think, as a university, going into this Division I stuff. We just got to keep moving forward. It's a grind. It's a grind. Our football team's going to play at Wisconsin next year. Are you kidding me? Did you see Wisconsin on TV? Holy crap, Meyer Court. Good luck. I mean, we got those grinds, all right? But we just got to keep moving forward. Whether our challenges are financially, whether they're acquiring the right talent, which you always have to do to compete, winning games, all that stuff. We just got to keep moving forward in the right direction. And you got really good people at the university doing that, from administration-wise, from Abbott to Saylor to our coaches. Everybody's committed to this thing. And we're excited we did it. It's been really fun. The next thing is to win in this thing, to really win, and to win Summit League championships. And that's our charge. And we've got to get that done and plan on getting that done. So Martin Luther King also said, but if you turn it over and you miss a bunch of shots and you shoot two of 25 like Schlimmy did, you're going to get your ass beat. Okay? He was a good basketball mind as well. I don't think he knew. He said that. He really did. Tell Schlimmy that, Joe. All right, the Martin Luther King story. What questions do you have for us, basketball-wise, that I can answer for you?
You play next year with these kids. So.
Yeah, right now we've got K-State probably in the works, but that would be the only one right now, which I'm praying that the AD doesn't come into my office and say, Ryan, go get one more, because if that's the case, when we schedule those games or we get told we have to play those games, like the KU game, I ignored that game forever, until Nilsson came into my office, and it was late. It was in April, because I had my schedule done, and I thought, he's forgot about it. I tabled that contract. I buried it so far under my desk. And he must have got an email from one of their ADs, but he said, Ryan, we're going to play this game, right? I said, no, what game? He said, that KU game. He said, well, what? I said, my scheduling's done. And he said, no, it's not. He said, you cancel one of these slappies that you schedule, and then you're going to play KU for $20,000, because that's what we get. But when we do play those games, you're going to see us play them fairly regional. And the reason why, Doc, is because you can save more money when you don't have to jump on an airplane. So that's why you see the men play at Nebraska. That's why you see our football team, although we did go to Central Florida, you'll see us play Minnesota, Wisconsin. We'll play the Iowa schools, because we can jump on a bus, and that's not that expensive. And if you get them to throw in hotel rooms and meal money, now we're talking. Okay, now we're talking. But good question.
You talked about increasing your talent as you go into Division I. What does that mean for you as far as going out and recruiting? Are you going to spread out more?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I'll talk about first of all, I'll talk about a little bit of the talent that we've got right now. And it would be really hard to go get a kid as good, if not better, than our young lady from the south here, Amber Hagee from Crofton. You all know Amber Hagee, and she is a talent. She is a legit Division I basketball player. And she would always be a unique talent. You look at the unique players and the really good players that we had at South Dakota, the likes of the Hoffman twins, the likes of a Mandy Copel, the likes of an Amber Hagee. They're around here. We can go around here and get them. You betcha. South Dakota, if they produce them, we're going to go get them. Nebraska has been good to us. We've gotten into that state a little bit. Minnesota, Iowa. We still have to recruit regional. Okay, we can go a little bit national. The fact that we have a Division I now behind our name, it allows us to go a little more national and get some kids. The only reason why is because you're Division I. And everybody wants to play Division I basketball. But the thing that we find, and when we say talent, we've got to get length, you've got to have quickness. The schools that are like when we played the Creightons or the Wisconsin Green Bays, or they just were a little stronger. They were a little quicker. They had a little more size as far as depth-wise on their bench. That's what you got to get. You face a little different level of athlete. And especially when we play those southern schools. When we get to Summit League and you watch Oral Roberts, those young ladies can really fly up and down the court. And not that you have to get what they've got, but very skilled kids, very skilled. Because if you're not that, you really get exposed. All right, these really good defensive teams and good coaches, they really expose you, and that's so. We're just going to go get the best kid that we can possibly get. We want to increase our athleticism. We always throw this word toughness around. I think coaches maybe overuse that word, but we'll always try to get the toughest little turkey we can in here. So, good question.
Is that out of here?
Yes.
So where is she? She's a junior?
Amber Hagee is a junior, and we're so glad she did do that.
Yeah.
She sat out that very first year of our Division I move, and we only played a handful. We played 3 or 4 Division I games that year. Played a lot of NAIs, D2s, so it would have been a waste of a year for her. And Amber's having a big year for us right now. She's our leading scorer. She's rebounding the ball well. She's just an awesome player. I think she's probably really fun for you guys to watch. And then she'll, of course, have a great senior year as well. And as she's getting stronger and more confident and I think more versatility in her game, we're going to become a better team because she's just a really good player. And mention a couple of our other kids. You might have read about Jody Boss. Jody Boss is the 6'4" post player that we've got inside. Really long, obviously, at 6'4", but she's a very unique talent in that she's one of the top shot blockers in the country. At one point, she was 4th. I haven't looked at the national statistics here lately, but she was at 4th in the country in block shots. And blocking shots is not easy, even if you're 6'4". I think to be a shot blocker, you've got to have exceptional timing. You've got to understand that you've got to keep some separation between your offensive player and yourself, because anytime the offense gets into you, it's hard to block that shot. Okay, and you get called for more fouls. She only has 32 fouls on the year, you guys. So to be our shot, she's our single season shot block record holder already, and we're 1 game into our conference season. That's a very special skill. She passed Amber Hagee, and so she's got 58 blocks already, and she has 32 fouls. Either Cappy's officials are crappy and they're not calling, okay, or she's doing a good job of not fouling. Because I tell you one thing, it's really hard to play post defense, and it's probably really hard, isn't it, Cappy, to ref post defense because it is rugged and the bodies do bang. And for her to do what she's doing without fouling, just exceptional, just exceptional. And she runs the floor really well. She's just as beautiful when she runs. We're trying to make her a little more productive offensively. She averages 7 points a game. We're trying to get in that double-digit category. She's a good foul shooter. Alexis Yackley is somebody else I think that you're probably pretty familiar with. She was our starting point guard. We moved her. She's coming off the bench. We totally expect her to get that spot back. But Teresa Case kind of took it from her. Teresa Case is from Sioux Falls, Roosevelt, and we compete every day in practice. Our first 5, it changes because you got to perform, and that's what we tell our kids when we recruit them. If you come and you have 3 or 4 bad days of practice, you're going to get beat out, and that just makes our practices really competitive. And Teresa's done a nice job. Yackley's, she's a really good player. She's a good shooter. She's capable of shooting a little better than she is right now. She's tougher than nails, competes like crazy, leads our team in assists. So those are some of our strong personnel. But what other questions?
So your stat sheets, when you read those in the paper about the U, I'm playing in Utah and California, and I suppose they pay you to come out to do that. But a lot of times at the end of the city, attendance 154.
Exactly.
172. How in the hell do they make it on that?
Not very good. We beat those teams too. Their programs are struggling, but yet that's a really good point. When we're playing on the road, right? So when we play at Santa Clara, you read that they had 152 people there, And when we played at Santa Clara, 150 of those 152 were 5 years old or younger. They had this screaming daycare going on there, it seemed like. But hey, when we played at Cornell, Cornell's it's got some history. Even in their women's basketball. In 2008, they were in the NCAA tournament. And obviously we know about Cornell's men, how well they did last year. They go Sweet 16, I believe. And their coach went on to Boston College. Now this is no man's hand laundry. And they had 48 people. RJ counted 48 people right in the stands as he's doing the game. And it's a good team. These are good players. They deserve people to be in those stands. And I don't have a good answer for you. Sometimes in the metro areas, when you got maybe your UCLAs and your USCs, they got so much to choose from. You got your professional sports, you got hockey and basketball and football. I mean, they're not choosing Santa Clara basketball, right? They're going to spend money on a ticket. It's probably going to be professional. So in those professional markets, you see lower attendance unless it's your big-time universities. But interesting comment, and sometimes it's, I don't ever tell this to our kids, but sometimes it's hard to get up for those games. It's different playing at North Dakota when it was packed the house night. And there's 3,000 people, and they're swearing at you. They're making fun of my sweater. I thought I looked nice. I had nicer sweaters than Lavin used to wear. And I mean, they're making fun of me, and call me sweater boy. That's all fun, right? That's what we want. And they're getting on our kids, and their kids are talking smack, and that's bad. That's a good basketball environment. But then you turn it around, and we're going to go to Utah Valley. And last year at Utah Valley, at the tip-off, 13 people. 13 people. Yeah, and so what an extreme. The natural hype, and the adrenaline that goes with playing Kansas, right, or North Dakota, or South Dakota State, where there was 6,000 people, and then you tip it up against 13, and I got to tell them, we got to play as hard every night. If there's nobody in the stands, or if there's 6,000s, or whether we're playing this in the parking lot, I don't care. We got to play the same every time. I tell them that. Human nature doesn't allow you to do that, I don't think. So that is a challenge. That's a heck of a point. So,
What the gym's like?
some of them are really ugly, and they're really tight. Some of them, honestly, like at Houston Baptist, it's like a middle school. It's like a middle school. Like the Yankton Middle School. Don't we have a stage on the end?
Yeah.
It's exactly like it. That's a tile floor, right? This is wood. It's seats. It's got bleachers that go on each side of the court, maybe up 6 rows. So it's a middle school gym. Yeah. So go play hard, ladies. Let's go. Play hard. Welcome to big time basketball. And our kids and some of the kids are like, they're used to playing in North Dakota, South Dakota State, and Mankato, and St. Cloud, and all the NCC days, right? These are good crowds, and so that's been different. But the Summit League will be better for us. It's a more established league, and they're nicer arenas and that sort of thing. So, but you got to go in there. It doesn't, regardless of where you're playing.
I assume that since you're going to continue to play North Dakota, there's not any hard feelings about North Dakota going to whatever the hell that league is.
The Big Sky.
Yeah.
The Big Sky. I don't know. I have no problem with North Dakota, really. The fact they're going to Big Sky, and we'll continue to play them, it's really no hard feelings. I really thought the best fit was for them to get into the Summit League, but good for us getting in that league, and good for football to get it in the Valley. That's going to really solidify. Everybody's got a home now, and that was part of the grind as well. So I credit, again, David Saylor does a tremendous job with all that. So. All right. Hey, thanks for having me, you guys. Always a pleasure to be here.